Yeah. 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 It's impossible to see.
No, I understand. Well, when we were doing stuff,
Yeah.
I had to use special
Yeah.
sticky.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can't read anything rap to be able to read. And I'm not a soloist, so this is very new. I'm a performer. What? Oh, thank you. I have terrible performance here. Okay.
Did a big smile?
Yeah. The path was there. We're rolling right along. Yeah. It's been tricky, with COVID. Yeah. 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 It's been tricky. There's so much more care and relations that happen on the phone. So anyway, Good morning. Welcome. Should have waited. Welcome to the First Religious Society Unitarian Universalist in Newburyport, Massachusetts. My name is Holly Cashman, and I am honored to serve as the parish board chair this year for this beloved church. We come together as a church community, online and in person, committed to love, peace, and justice. Our core values are authentic connection, courageous action, love, spirituality, and wonder. Our mission and our invitation to all of you is to come as you are, journey together in love, act with courage, transform our world. If you are visiting today or joining us for the first time, welcome. We are glad you're here. This morning is our second in-person and online worship service since March 2020. Thank you for being here and for sharing your feedback and experience with the services as we grow and adapt into this new reality. To access this morning's order of service, please click on the QR code located on the paper in your pew, on the link which you'll find in your reminder email that was sent this morning, or in the links just below the live stream for those of you online. Every Sunday, we say that it is no small thing that we have gathered. Each of us comes with our needs and desires for this sacred time, so let us give ourselves to it. I welcome one and all to our church and to our worship service. Thank you. It is good to be together.
Our call to worship this morning are the words of Reverend Mark Bellatini, taken from his poem, Part as Parcel. I am part of you, O truth unfolding. I am part of you. I am part of a cosmos. I cannot see either its edge or its end. I am part of a system of planets that swing around a small parent star. How strong the hands of invisibility, gravity must be to hold it all together just so. I am part of a political unit called a nation. There are many nations, each of them dear in many ways to its local citizens. I am part of a circle of friends, rooted in simple, redemptive love. I am part of a climate region, part of a neighborhood, part of a congregation. And with you, I am part and parcel of this moment, this simple silence, which lasts but a few breaths and then is gone forever. Sorry, there's a little irony happening right now. But like cosmos, galaxy, planet, species, nation, climate, neighborhood, family, circles of friendship, it is precious. It is a present for which I give thanks. You are joyfully called to worship. Wow. For those of you online, we have a car alarm going off. That's what's happening. Won't you please join now in saying our chalice lighting words as Vern lights the chalice? The words can be found in your online order of service or in the card that is found on top of the hymnals in your pews. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together. Each week, we also light 2 candles of peace, representing 2 places on earth we lift up and remember as a sacred encounter with our world. There are untold numbers of places on earth that need peace. These 2 we especially hold close in this service and through the week ahead. After each candle is lit, you are invited to speak the words for peace in English, Arabic, and Hebrew. Peace, salam, shalom. Our first candle is lit for Newburyport, where this Tuesday evening, the General Government Committee will be hearing from citizens and making their vote on moving forward to change Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. We pray for democracy to prevail, and that whatever the outcome, we continue to promote the rights of Indigenous peoples, including teaching true and actual history. Peace, salam, shalom. Our second candle this morning is lit for the organizing bodies throughout the state of Massachusetts, including right here, who are preparing to welcome and provide radical hospitality, including housing, to the possible 900 Afghan refugees who may be arriving in this state. As this work is done across the globe, may we come together, uniting in peace and human compassion for the rights and safety of these people, again, including here in the Merrimack Valley. Peace, salam, shalom. We'll now join together in our opening hymn number 38, Morning Has Broken. To honor the safety of all who are gathered in person, we ask those of us in the sanctuary to take in the music in your heart and refrain from singing, while those of you participating online can sing your hearts out.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlight from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness, where God's feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light Eden saw play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day.
Please rise in body or spirit, and let's join our voices together in our affirmation and our doxology, which for the time being, we will be speaking together the doxology. I know it's going to feel a little strange, until it is safe to sing again. The words for both are in the online order of service and the cards on top of your hymnal. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God. From all that dwell below the skies, let faith and hope with love arise. Let beauty, truth, and good be sung through every land, by every tongue. You may be seated. Each year at this time, we have a tradition of blessing our children and youth's backpacks. You may have heard some of them laughing. If you heard my own chuckle, that's what I was laughing about. They are here today meeting outside in safety and having their first gathering of young church. This is true both for our littler, smaller ones and for the youth, the teens. We're not able to do the blessing of the backpacks as we typically would do here in the sanctuary, where we would be, you may remember, holding our blessings and throwing them up in the air to the kids that are all gathered here. That doesn't stop us, though, right? So we invited you to email your blessings last week to Mara to share your hopes and wishes and dreams for these children and for their school years. Vern and I are going to share now a few of those blessings that you sent in. So all of them, by the way, have been printed, and Mara will be giving them to every child as they go forward. And as we do this, I invite you to think of our own beloved children that are part of this congregation. Think of your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews, your neighbors, those children who you hold dear in your heart.
I'm wishing the children of our wonderful church fellowship a year full of adventure, laughter, and continual exploration.
We are so blessed to have all of you in our congregation. It is such a joy to watch all of you as you grow and evolve.
May your days be filled with joy, knowing you are loved, just as you are.
Walk with your head held high. Your FRS church loves you.
The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Eleanor Roosevelt.
And above all, watch with glittering eyes the whole world around you, because the greatest secrets are always hidden in the most unlikely places. Those who don't believe in magic will never find it. Roald Dahl.
You are loved.
Dance, smile, giggle, marvel, trust, hope, love, wish, believe. Most of all, enjoy every moment of the journey and appreciate where you are at this moment instead of always focusing on how far you have to go. Mandy Hale.
Dear students, we wish you the joy and wonder of learning, teachers who inspire you and see your wonderful potential, a safe, fun, and uplifting school environment, good friends who respect you and accept you as you are, healthy self-esteem, habits and values, a caring and kind heart, supportive and loving family, and a comfortable, happy place to call home. Have a fantastic school year.
Never stop dreaming. Never stop believing. Never give up. Never stop trying, and never stop learning. Roy Bennett.
Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Nelson Mandela.
May it be so, and may all the children that are here in body and in our hearts know that they are loved and blessed every day in the year to come.
This is the time in our service when the offering will be gratefully received. If you are worshiping in person, we are encouraging you to make your donation online using your mobile device. We'll be sharing how you can do that in a moment. The generosity of our community is an essential ministry that supports the work of the church and to live out our values, mission, and ends, both in Newburyport and beyond. Each week, 50% of the Sunday offering not designated as a pledge goes to the local community partner engaged in important efforts to transform our region. The September shared collection will support the Jeanne Geiger Crisis Center. Every year, the center helps over 1,200 victims of domestic violence, including both adults and children. In addition to your contribution, please consider participating in the Jeanne Geiger Crisis Center Walk Against Domestic Violence on October 3rd. Domestic violence has increased with the stresses and isolation of the pandemic, so this work is more important than ever. At this time, we encourage you to make your offering online. If you're viewing the order of service on your phone or on your computer at home, there is a link you can click in the order of service or in the video description where you can make your contribution. You can also text a contribution by sending the word GIVE FRSUU to the number 73256. If you would prefer to make an offering by check or cash, you can take the time to fill out the information as the music plays, and there will be baskets you can use to leave the service when you leave the service, and of course, you can always mail a check to the church as well.
This is a time in our service when we lift up the joys and sorrows among our members and friends. I will share those that I have been told in advance, which you can always email to me. We also will now have a basket on the welcome table outside of the front door of the sanctuary where you're invited to use that paper and write down any joy or sorrow that you would like read in the service. Bettina Turner, our pastoral care associate this morning, will get those to me, and she'll also be lighting a candle for each that I share. You are invited to share those online as well, although we will not be able to read them aloud. This morning, we light a candle for Sandra Thaxter, who asks that we do so for her children, Williamine and Louise Soma, praying for a peaceful passage for their father, Bob Soma, in his final days. We light a candle for Nancy Peace, who is grateful to be finally improving following her hip replacement surgery, and who is grateful as well for the ongoing support she has received from the FRS community. And we light a candle for Nancy's friend, Melandi Romero, that she may have a full recovery from her recent surgery. We light a candle this morning as well for Barbara Garnis, who had shoulder surgery last week. She is home and recovering well. We wish you a full and speedy recovery, Barbara. This morning, we light a candle of joy for Doug and Betsy Latham, who share the joy that their 3.5-year-old grandson is having surgery tomorrow that will actually be a huge stride forward in his medical condition. So this candle is lit for that joy. Nancy and Jay McCarthy, we light a candle as they share the sad news of the passing of their nephew, Jared McCarthy, at the young age of 47. Please remember the entire McCarthy clan in your thoughts and prayers as they attempt to process the news of this astoundingly sad event. We light a candle for Minnie Flanagan, who had to put her beloved dog down a few days ago. We light a candle for Ann Mulvey's, who asks that we hold her sister-in-law, Susie, her niece, Kiara, and nephew, Luke, in our thoughts and prayers. This week, Susie moved from New Hampshire to North Carolina to live near Kiara, Kiara's spouse, Mary, and their 2 sweet little grandsons. Susie's son, Luke, who has struggled with opioid addiction for a long time, lives in Waterbury, Connecticut. We also light a candle for Ann's good friend, Priscilla Blair's, and ask that we hold her in our hearts. Kita Life, Priscilla's partner of 40-plus years, passed away peacefully Monday morning. We light a candle for Ann's friend of 50 years, Miriam Klein. On September 15th, she found out that she has breast cancer. Her mother died of breast cancer on September 15th, when Miriam was just 17 years old. And we light one final candle this morning, as we do each week, for all of the joys and sorrows that, although unspoken, are held in just as much love and care. This morning, for our time of prayer and meditation, I'll invite us all to sit together in a couple of minutes of silence. May it be so.
This song that we make together, this song that we make, let it be a source of joy as life comes to us in a thousand different ways. Let love and beauty hold us in their warm embrace. In this hope that we make together, this hope that we make, let it be a source of joy as life comes to us in a thousand different ways. Let love and beauty hold us in their warm embrace. In this song that we make. Surrender to the pulsing of your words. Remember simple gifts of daily praise. Release the breath, the urgency, the endless grief and strife, and simply be. To this hope that we make, this hope that we
Wow. I think it's the third time it's gone off. Yikes. It's life, isn't it? Our reading this morning is written by Naomi Shihab Nye, entitled Shoulders. A man crosses the street in rain, stepping gently, looking 2 times north and south, because his son is asleep on his shoulder. No car must splash him. No car drive too near his shadow. This man carries the world's most sensitive cargo, but he's not marked. Nowhere does his jacket say, fragile, handle with care. His ears fill up with his breathing. He hears the hum of a boy's dream deep inside him. We are not going to be able to live in this world if we're not willing to do what he's doing with one another. The road will only be wide. The rain will never stop falling. Okay, we are hoping, by the way, the reopening team, and that's starting next Sunday, I'll be able to preach without the mask. However, I'm going to need to be taking a COVID test at home, which is sort of like finding, what do you call it, like Clorox wipes in the beginning of the pandemic. So if any of you know how to get them, please, I can't seem to get one. But if I can, I'll be able to do that in safety, knowing when I take this off, I can reassure you that it has tested negative. And I so wish this was a sermon I could deliver without my mask, which perhaps you'll understand more when I finish. I am sorry. I'm sorry for the pain you live in and think you cannot share. I'm sorry for the loss you're going through and the aloneness you sometimes feel. I'm sorry if you've forgotten how amazingly, spectacularly beautiful you are and how dear you are to this world. I'm sorry it hurts and that it hurt. The memory of when you were left out, not invited or told you didn't belong. I understand because I too have lived in separation, pain, and fear of others finding out the whole of who I truly am. Because I too have had things happen that made it difficult to feel safe, included, and loved, just as I am. Because I too thought the answer was to leave parts of myself behind, outside of the door, hidden even from myself. I too am human. We all come into this world beautiful, beautiful, and desired by life, or we wouldn't be here. You are not an accident, and neither am I, nor is anyone else around you, inside these walls and beyond. We live our lives as though it is a single story, and indeed it is. However, it's also so much more. Our lives are a multiplicity of stories woven together, feeding into one another. Our stories are made up of our experiences and those of our ancestors and the culture and time we live in. Our stories carry memories encoded in our DNA and family patterns. Our stories intersect with the stories of our neighbors and friends and people we will never know, but who harvested the food that we ate for dinner last night. We like to imagine we are special, unique, and set apart, and we are. We are also no different than every other person and particle of this universe. We are made of atoms and stardust. We repeat the same patterns of life, death, and renewal, each of us living universal storylines time and again. Many of us were not told that we are part of the cosmos. Spectacular, magnificent, one of a kind, while also ordinary, average, and more alike than different from other expressions of life. Most of us were taught to look at the world through a binary lens. We weren't taught about wholeness and the irony, paradoxes, and seemingly contradictions that life contains. We were taught that things were either good or bad, right or wrong, and people fell into that same category. There were things about ourselves to be illumined and things to be forgotten. Unity is our ministry theme for this year. How do we begin discussing the ideas of unity? Where do we dive into it? Well, within ourselves. So let me take a moment to remind us of how we got to this year's ministry theme. The first year that I was here, our annual ministry theme was story. It happened organically. It actually wasn't planned. One of my very first sermons focused on the power of stories, and it stuck. We kept returning to it over and again the first few months I was here, and before long, one of you said to me, "Story, it's like our theme this year." And it stuck. So it began. My second year, our theme was journey. The power of our individual stories had begun commingling and creating our collective story, our journey. And imagination seemed only fitting for the theme as we entered our third year together, with COVID in full swing. Acknowledging and living into the realities of COVID required us to imagine things anew, whether we wanted to or not. The events that took place over last church year felt at times beyond our wildest imagination. The realities of rising divisions and increasing political tensions played out in the national election, the attack on our Capitol, and the vaccine and mask debacle, among other things. And I began hearing common refrains from parishioners. You said to me, "Help me understand how to talk with my friends and family who think and vote so differently from me." I've lost friends. I'm losing hope. I have no hope. It was clear that unity had to be our theme this year. Unity doesn't mean conformity or unanimity, or that we can or will or even should think alike. Difference is essential to wisdom. Unity, as I am using this term, simply means wholeness. Wholeness wherein there is space and room for all, including all of ourselves and all of our differences. This does not mean that we accept injustice as inevitable or accept harm that is being done to ourselves or other people. It does mean, however, that we can seek understanding. I invite us not to lose the goodness and the growth that can come from exploring such a seminal concept as unity by looking for the loopholes. I believe that much good can come of this exploration, even as we will not come to total answers. Over the year ahead, we'll look at unity through the role of dialogue, world religions, our own Unitarian Universalist faith. We'll delve into unity in the spheres of cosmology and relationships and social justice. We'll look into the phenomena of paradox, contradiction, uncertainty, all of which are foundational to unity, and explore the role of spaciousness, tending, and awakening as they relate to wholeness and unity. We'll apply the questions and concepts of unity to ourselves, this congregation, and the larger world, just as we approached our values, mission, and ends, looking within, among, and beyond ourselves. We will be disappointed if we expect neat, packaged, easy answers. There are none. However, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't do our very best to dig deep and seek further understanding. And of course, it will not be the only thing that we reflect upon or spend our Sundays doing together. It will be the theme that will weave through the year. So let's start with you. Let's start with you, your stories and life experiences. What better place to begin searching for unity than within ourselves? None of us live in a state of unity or wholeness all the time. We wouldn't be human. We all have parts of ourselves and our experiences that we would rather stay hidden, suppressed, or in the shadows. Imagine your life as a book. I'm serious with this invitation. Imagine, even close your eyes if you want, imagine your life as a book. Take this book off shelf. What do you see? What color is its cover, if it has one? Is it hardcover or paperback? Thick or slim? Does it have dusty or glossy paper? Did you take it down from high up on a shelf? Or did you need to round a corner to find it tucked away in the eaves? Mine is hardcover, rather old, a faded navy blue. Its pages are cream-colored, thickish paper and a bit dusty. What do you find when you open your book? Are there pages turned down from where, indicating places and stories and memories you return to time and again, for better or for worse? Are there pages folded in on themselves in hopes of not being noticed? Do some pages have darker ink than others? The dark ink seeming to shout, "Look at this, of which I am so proud." And the faded ink symbolizing your regrets, trying to disappear. This is your book, my friends. Everything belongs. Everything. There is not a thing in your story that hasn't played an important part in your becoming who you are today. Not a one. Fred Allen Wolfe, in his book, The Little Book of Big Ideas Where Science Meets Spirit, writes this: "Within your own mind and body lies a majestic story filled with drama, pathos, humor, intelligence, fantasy, and fact. It is no less than the story of the entire universe, particularly its own creation, transformation, and ultimate purpose. Yet, so often we hide parts of ourselves, which leaves us feeling less secure, concerned about how to keep those things hidden. And it cuts us off from the love that holds us. In such disowning of parts of ourselves, we can lose connection with our souls, our innate, beautiful essence. The Gospel of Mark says, what is good for a man, but I'm going to say it, what is good for a person, what good is it is it for a person to gain the whole world, yet forfeit their soul? Anyway, often it is our foibles, big and small, that allow others to love us. We are loved in the sharing of our pain and errors, and yet we believe otherwise. I receive more responses from sermons in which I talk about my challenges, or my flaws, if you will, than my successes, hands down. People will share with me how relieved they are to know they're not alone. And then they often want to know, how did I do it? Whatever it is that we may be discussing. How did I overcome addiction? How did I become brave enough to use my experiences of sexual abuse to speak out against such an atrocity? How can I be so vulnerable publicly? I do it because living in hiding left me dying inside. And it also left me believing and perpetuating societal lies about perfection, good and bad, patriarchy, and so many other things that I could say. And I do it because it is impossible for me to live in authentic connection and hide parts of who I am. Yet I am still human. I still hide things I fear I will be judged for or told I don't belong. My 2 divorces, for example, or the centrality of my Christian mysticism in my personal theology of love. What if these things deem me unworthy? I worry. And there, I just did it. I just shined the spotlight on 2 parts of my story that I often try to hide. I asked someone, do you think people know these things? And they thought, and they said, well, if they're paying attention, they probably do. And a dear elder in my life, when I was leaving Brookline, where I served for years before here, she asked me if you all knew about my theology. And I said, no, not necessarily. And she looked at me, and she was in her late 80s at the time. And she said, oh, that's a problem. I didn't like that answer. But my friends, what we hide out of fear, out of shame, it rules us. I'm not suggesting that we tell our whole story to everyone we meet or anyone who asks. I am suggesting that to hide parts of ourselves because we think it makes us unworthy, unlovable, anything less than beautiful is unkind, if not cruel to ourselves. And the truth is, it often takes away some of our most important gifts we can offer this world. Our stories are ours to share when and with whom we choose. We will share them at varying degrees and in chosen relationships. I just pray that we all have some people who do know it all, every nook and cranny of your story. At what expense does hiding the parts of our stories and ourselves, particularly due to shame, occur? It is a huge cost, I promise you. We are so much freer to serve the world and to live fully, authentically, and joyfully when we accept all of who we are and all parts of our stories. Carl Jung said, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, in order to avoid facing their own soul. May we welcome each other's souls, their beautiful essence, and may this be a refuge for all, exactly and wholly as we are. Amen. And we'll now join together in our closing hymn, again, 108. Same thing if we're here in the sanctuary. Let's take in these words, and if you're at home, sing along. My life flows on in endless song.
My life flows on in endless song above us lamentation. I I hear the far off hymn that hails a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ring. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest round me roars, I know the truth it liveth. What though the dark around me blows, songs in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm winging. One fronts my shame are undefiled. How can I keep from singing? When tyrants tremble as they hear the bells of freedom ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near, how can I keep from singing? To prison cell and dungeon vile, our thoughts to them are winging. When friends by shame are undefiled, how can I keep from singing?
Please rise, embody your spirit, and let's join together our voices in the unison benediction while Vern extinguishes the chalice. May the love which overcomes all differences, which heals all wounds, which puts to flight all fears, which reconciles all who are separated, be in us, among us, now and always. I just remind us that the ushers will be inviting us to leave on our way out, and we'll have fellowship and coffee outside if you would like to join us. My friends, as we leave from this sacred space together, may we remember and know that our stories in all of their entirety, they are gifts. They are gifts to be shared with whom and when we are ready. But they are our gifts nonetheless. This world needs liberation. May we be the people who choose that freedom for ourselves and then give it to others. Go in peace, my friends, and return again in great joy. Amen, and blessed be.